Robert, do you want to speak on behalf of Christy?
What would you like to say, mate?
If there's anyone out there that knows or seen anything, just come forward. Contact the police.
What are the last 3 days?
Really help.
Rob, do you want to talk us through the last time you saw Kaisha?
Last time I saw her, we were just watching a movie together, you know. Someone must know something. Please come forward.
What kind of personality does she have?
She's beautiful, you know, funny, always happy.
Was that on Saturday that you were watching the movie?
The last movie we watched was The Golden Compass.
Rob, how have the past 48 hours been for you and Christy?
Can't describe how it's been. You don't know until you put yourself in my shoes. Just hope that she's found as soon as possible. That's what we need. Safe and well.
How hard is it for you the longer this goes?
It gets harder by the minute.
Keisha Abrahams, a defenseless 6-year-old girl, lived with her mother, Christy, and her mother's partner, Robert Smith, and was subjected to months of abuse, including physical assault, such as being punched in the face, biting, and burning with cigarettes. Unfortunately, Keisha's mother was the one who fatally struck her on the head, despite being the person she relied on the most for protection. Christy reported her daughter missing, days after murdering her, and continued to deceive authorities for 8 months, even appearing on television with her ex-husband to increase awareness of the case. The television appeal, recorded a few weeks after Keisha's murder, showed Christy tearfully pleading for her daughter's safe return, despite knowing that Keisha's body had been stuffed in a suitcase, burned and buried in a shallow grave. Christy was subsequently sentenced to 22 years in prison for murder, while Robert Smith was sentenced to at least 12 years for his involvement in the horrific abuse of a helpless child.
It's the news these Mount Druitt locals hoped they would never hear. Their neighbours and friends, the mother and stepfather of missing girl Kaisha Abrahams, have been charged with her murder.
I'm hurting, I'm angry, I just want to cry. But it's Kaisha's birthday.
Kaisha Abrahams would have turned 7 today. Police had to hold back the angry crowd as they waved placards and yelled obscenities at Christy Ann Abrahams and her partner Robert Smith as they were taken into custody.
In January 1997, 9-year-old schoolgirl Zoe Evans went missing from her home in Warminster, Wiltshire. Her mother, Paula Hamilton, and stepfather Miles Evans appeared at a press conference and begged for her to come home. Unbeknown to Zoe's mother, the man sitting next to her was actually responsible for killing her 6-year-old daughter. Zoe's naked body was later found and Evans was arrested and eventually convicted of her murder. Zoe had been taken from her bed and sexually assaulted. A post-mortem examination found she died from asphyxiation from a t-shirt being stuffed in her mouth and had been punched in the face. Evans, then 24, was jailed for life with a minimum of 17 years after being convicted of murder. He has continued to deny killing Zoe, whose body was found partially buried near to her family home. Zoe's mother later said Evans deserved the death penalty for what he had done.
I just want her to know that we all do love her and miss her dearly.
It's getting really bad. We miss her. We want her to come home or at least contact someone, someone that's out there knows anything, to contact the police or Crime Stoppers. Her son needs her. He needs his mum.
In August 2015, for the entire month that Jodie was missing, Neil Archer spent weeks begging his fiancée Jodie Mayers to come home on countless news broadcasts, alongside his mother Margaret Archer. Neil and his mother had consistently pleaded for help in finding the young mother who had gone missing after a family party. Yet, the young mother's body was buried just meters away from where the pair played to the cameras over and over again. The mother of one was last seen at a surprise birthday party for her stepfather. Throughout the day of her disappearance, tension between Neil and Jodie was building. After the party, Neil completely lost control, strangling his partner using the cord of his hoodie. The following day, Neil's mother helped her son cover up his horrific crime. They had visited an ATM where they withdrew $250 from Jodi's account, shortly thereafter visited a hardware store to buy cement. Neil buried Jodi in a shallow grave concealed under a poorly constructed concrete slab, at his mother's house. Neil's father returned home from an interstate trip. Neil told him that he had laid the concrete slab as an early Father's Day surprise. A month after Neil killed his fiancée, Jodi's body was found on Margaret and Lawrence's property. The hoodie cord was still around her neck. In 2017, Neil was sentenced to at least 22 years behind bars for murdering his fiancée. His mother, Margaret, was sentenced to 6 years in prison for helping her son.
So you're not a murderer, you're not a killer?
No, I'm not. I've never harmed anyone in that way, so I would never harm anyone in that way.
There's a lot going on around here, and I really hope that all this can lead to something positive.
What did your neighbors, did they see anything? Did your neighbors see anything?
No, like the police department went door to door asking, like, cameras and everything, just like nothing.
And my last question, if you have any though, so feel free to step in. My last question is, if your wife can see this, if she can watch these, what would you like to tell your wife and your kids?
Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
That's it. I can take that mic off you.
Shanann Watts and her 2 young children were reported missing on August 13, 2013, when they did not show up for a scheduled appointment or respond to text messages from a concerned friend. Shanann's husband, Chris, appeared on 2 Denver TV channels the following day, requesting the safe return of his family. However, his emotional response did not seem to match the gravity of the situation. You can assess his demeanor for yourself by watching the video. The day after the interview, Chris Watts was taken into custody on suspicion of murdering his wife, 2 children, and their unborn child. Shanann was pregnant at the time. Chris, who was having an affair, had allegedly decided to kill his family, following an argument about divorce. He eventually confessed to the murders after failing a polygraph test. On November 19, 2013, he was sentenced to 5 life terms in prison, without the possibility of parole.
Defendant into custody and have him serve the rest of his life in the Department of Corrections. We are in recess.
Please rise.
Home, the pain and strain of the last 5 days was clear to see across Gerard Baden-Clay's face.
I'm trying to look after my children at the moment. They've got 3 young girls, and we really trust that the police are doing everything they can to find my wife, and we just hope that she'll come home soon.
Was she upset before she went away?
No, and the police, I've tried to help the police as much as I can, and we all have, and everything we've got, so thank you, I'm sorry.
The family car has been impounded and is undergoing scientific examination. But Mr Baden-Clay was behind the wheel of a friend's car when he lost control of it on Sunday, crashing into a pole outside the Indooroopilly shopping centre. The well-known real estate agent spent time in hospital.
I was hurt a little bit, but I'm okay.
The footage shows the moment when Gerard Baden-Clay, residing in Queensland, Australia, spoke to the media urging his wife Alison's safe return after she was reported missing in April 2012. Unbeknownst to the authorities, Clay had killed his wife and left her body on a creek bank in Brisbane 3 days earlier. It took the authorities a week to uncover her remains, and Clay was considered a suspect along with others. Following the discovery of Alison's body by a canoeist, police took 2 weeks to complete their investigation. Although a post-mortem was inconclusive about the cause of her death, Clay was still charged with murder and interfering with a corpse. Despite maintaining his innocence, he was convicted and given a life sentence 2 years later. The investigation uncovered that Alison's life was insured for more than $500,000. Gerard's business had taken a hit due to the recent floods in Brisbane, while Alison was flourishing in her career as an executive for Flight Centre. It was also discovered that Clay had a mistress, and some speculated that the murder was an attempt to start a new life without his wife.
Alison loved being a wife and a mother and worked incredibly hard to do both to the best of her ability. Even though it has been said many times before, she was indeed an amazing woman. Her legacy will be her 3 beautiful girls who, surrounded by their memories of Alison and the love and support of Alison's devoted family, are thriving in their busy lives.